Hey everybody, today I want to talk about 3 myths that I think revolve around upper body training, specifically for women. There's just, lots of times I don't think that people realize that there are things that they believe that aren't necessarily true, or things that they believe and maybe the majority of the population believes that, I just don't necessarily agree with. So the first one is bulky muscles. Talking about bulky muscles, women thinking that if they start training, they're going to instantly get bulky muscles. I have said this before and I will say it again and again. Women do not have the same amount of testosterone as men, so women have to be on a very particular training regimen, a very particular nutritional regimen in order to see massive muscle gains. It's just not the thing that our body is made for, and the majority of training protocols for women are not going to be giving enough volume and enough heavy weights for women who don't want to have bulky muscles to see bulky muscles. I got a little puppy here bothering me. Better space. The second part of the bulky muscle myth is that women don't want bulky muscles. I understand that there are some women who do not want bulky muscles, and they have told me that before. There are many women that have told me that they don't want that and that they're afraid of that. But the other side of that coin is that there are some women that are interested in getting bulky muscles, and there's nothing wrong with that. We can have the body type that we want. We can have the body shape that we want. We can have the lack of muscles or the addition of muscles that we want, and we can still be attractive and we can still be feminine. It's not something that defines our femininity, having muscle or not having muscle. So that's a really big part of that myth that I think is important to realize, is that even just the fact of saying every single woman is against bulky muscles is false, just in and of itself. And I know I've made that mistake before in some of the things that I've written and in some of the things that I've said. And I think it's just time to dispel that myth, because I'm probably one of those women who wants bulkier muscles compared to what other women want. So I think it's important just to make that note that for one, it's harder for women to get the quote-unquote bulky muscle look, but for number 2, it's really not a big deal if that's what a woman wants. And my husband's chiming in on my video here. And for number 2, if you want bulky muscles, that is totally fine. And it is wonderful and beautiful, because that's how you want your body to look. And if you find that attractive, that is a-okay. So number 2 myth about women's upper body training that I want to talk about is women just insisting that they want to be toned and defined. There is no such thing as quote unquote toning your muscles. Let's just throw that out there right now. There is no specific protocol that is considered toning. Toning is basically just gaining muscle and losing fat so that you have muscle definition. That's that. So when people talk about they don't want to add too much muscle, they just want to get toned, they're not really knowing what they're talking about, because in order to get the quote unquote toned look, you have to actually add muscle onto your frame. So in order to get a toned look, you basically just need some serious and proper training in order to gain muscle. And then after that, you just need to lose some fat. So that's a lot of the reason why, bodybuilders and competitors do a cutting and a bulking phase, is they'll spend time where they're not focused on fat loss because they want to gain as much muscle mass as possible on their body. They go into a quote unquote bulking phase. And then after they do that, they go into a quote unquote cutting phase where their focus is on fat loss and less on muscle gain, so that they can get that toned and defined look. Because otherwise there's not a training protocol that's considered toning. It doesn't exist. You just want to gain muscle and you just want to lose some fat. And that's what creates a toned look. The end. Okay. point number 3 that I want to talk about is chest day and women thinking that they don't need to do chest day. This is completely wrong. We have chest muscle, we have pectoral muscles. They're under our boobs, but we do still have them. I was looking at a forum online the other day that a woman literally said, I don't think I need to train chest because I have boobs and not pecs. Cool. You still have pec muscles. Those do still exist underneath your boobs. And it is also important that you train them. So really, if you want a fully functional, fully balanced body, training your chest is definitely important. I mean, even if that's not your goal, which I feel like it's pretty much everybody's goal, even though they don't know that that's their goal, being functional and being balanced is basically a goal of weight training. But in order to have a balanced and functional body, you need to train all parts of it. You would never just train your right leg and leave your left leg to do nothing. Because then you would have all sorts of imbalances. You would use your right leg for everything and you would use your left leg for nothing. And you would probably start walking lopsided. You would start having hip issues. There would be all sorts of imbalances that would happen in your body that would be caused from training one more than you would train the other. So as women, a lot of times we don't train our chest. We either focus mainly on our lower body. If we do any upper body work, it's like biceps and maybe some back. And that just causes imbalances. This actually works in the reverse with a lot of men, is they spend too much time training their chest because it's a quote-unquote mirror muscle, and they don't spend as much time training their back. So you've seen guys who have like a really big chest, but their shoulders are slouched forward, and it's because their chest muscles are so much stronger than their back muscles that they're literally pulling their shoulders forward. So not to say that women do the opposite, so that their chest goes out and it pulls their chest back, or pulls their back. But if you're not properly training your chest in alignment with training your back and the other parts of your body, it can cause back issues, and it can cause issues with the way that you use your abdominals and just in general imbalances. So don't forget to work your chest. You don't need a specific chest day necessarily. But in order to be functional and to be balanced and well-rounded, you need to do some chest training. And there's the other part of it that exercises that are supposed to be chest exercises, such as like a bench press or push-ups or floor press, which is my favorite, they don't just work your pectorals. They are working a lot of times your abs, they're working your biceps, they can work your shoulders, your triceps, even when most of the time, if you're doing them correctly, they'll even use your upper back, like your rhomboids and your trapezius. So there's a lot of other muscles that are incorporated in these exercises that we're not necessarily taking into account. So that's just something to think of as well, that there might be other exercises that you're doing that aren't using those muscles in the exact same way. Because if you're only ever doing a pulling exercise and never doing a pushing exercise, you're only using that muscle to do one thing and you're not developing it to do the other. So those are my 3 myths that I wanted to talk about. Number 1, talking about bulky muscles. First part of that is that it's a lot harder for women to get bulky muscles. You need to have proper training. You need to have proper nutrition. It needs to be like your number 1 focus as a woman, because we don't have the same testosterone for it. The second part of that myth is that it's a-okay if women want to have bulky muscles. It doesn't change the fact that you're a woman. It doesn't make you any less feminine. If that's what you want, if that's what you desire for your body, that is totally cool. And I think that you should pursue that. Number 2, talking about getting toned. Being toned is not really a real thing. Well, you could be toned looking, but doing a toning workout is not really a thing. So the process of toning is building muscle and then losing some fat in order to see that muscle definition. So if you're looking for a toned look, don't be afraid to add some muscle onto your body. Number 3, ladies, don't skip chest day. You need those exercises to be a well-rounded and functional trainee. So if you have any questions or comments, please leave them down in the comment section, and I would happily get back to you about that stuff. Otherwise, that's that. Thanks for watching. If you liked that video and you want to learn more about upper body training and how to do it properly, check out my new upper body program. It's called Arms Like That. Go down to the link in the description box and you can get all the info for it.